sisters, welcome to my channel. Welcome back, welcome if you're new, and welcome if you're just checking us out. My name is Mo and I am a traditional woman in a modern world. On my channel, I will be posting videos on traditional womanhood, femininity, tips and tricks, tutorials, beauty, traditional lifestyle, and how to practice being a virtuous woman. Every single week, we will learn how to be more traditional and feminine, as well as to overcome self-doubt and step into the woman that God has created us to be. So if these are topics that you are interested in, please do like, share, and definitely hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified every single week when I have a new episode. Welcome to another episode of Talk Thursday. So Thursdays, this is where we chat and have a talk about controversial topics, definitely talking about how to abstain from sex and how to not have sex before marriage, because as a traditional virtuous woman, we understand the value in preserving our bodies, in preserving ourselves for the man that will marry us. And there will be a man that understands the worth and value of a woman that has self-control in these type of areas. So if these are things that you would love to talk about, please do subscribe. Also, get into the conversation with me. Comment below. If you have not checked out my first episode on Talk Thursday, please do check it out. I will be adding a link somewhere on the video, either above or below in the comment section, so that we can all be on the same page on reasons to why to abstain and why to remain a virgin or to stop having sex before marriage. I also share my reasons why I stopped and have changed my life in that regard. So please do check out that video. But anyway, let's not waste any time. Let's get into this topic. Today's topic is tips on how to abstain and how to stop having sex before marriage. So this will be a continuous series. This won't be the only time I share tips, but these are some of the first go-to tips. Other than deciding, decision is the first big important thing that you need to do. We need to decide and commit. If you're going to decide to stay a virgin, great, commit to it. If we're going to decide to get out of our worldly ways and to stop having sex before marriage, great, commit to it. One of the biggest things that keeps us in this perpetual state of wanting to have sex and things like that is temptation. So my first step would be to avoid temptation. Try think ahead and do not put ourselves in situations that will make it hard for us to, abstain, to say no, or to resist sexual lust and desire. There is a part of us that desires that, but that does not mean that it needs to control us or lead us in making decisions in our lives. Regularly reading the Word of God. Now this is something that everybody needs to make a decision for themselves and have the discipline to do this, because the Word of God is one of the surest foundations to base a lot of our decisions on. The Word of God also teaches us how to identify lust, temptation, and how to stay away from it. Other than that, the Word of God also puts our minds in a state of thinking of things other than from a worldly perspective. And by this I mean that in this world it is a thing, it's a trend, a culture, I don't know what else to say, that we are supposed to be more sexual or lustful. Pride has taken over everything. Everything. If it's not, look at me, look at me. Be confident in the decision. So never let peer pressure, other people, what other people are doing in their relationships, what somebody else advises you to do based on if it's contrary to your decision. So if somebody else is advising you or us to get into sex because you know what, we'll never get married because men just want to have sex. I mean, if that's the real conclusion of relationships, then why are we all out here trying to make ourselves better people if that is all a relationship is about? Relationships are not only about physical intimacy. Intimacy is more than just being physical. So to be confident in the decision is to know that we will not compromise who we are and how we believe we should conduct ourselves. Never allow guilt tripping to allow us to compromise our values. It is all about being strong in the values that we believe in. Never allow someone to compromise you. Never allow someone to allow yourself to compromise yourself. So guilt tripping, it happens all the time. It happens. Some people don't even do it intentionally, but it does happen. People will say things like, you don't know how to express love if you're not having sex. We do not understand love if you're not having sex. You might not love me if you do not having sex with me. These are some of the things that people can say to us to make us feel as if our decision is wrong. Also, using blackmail emotions like, if you truly love me, you will have sex with me. No, this will never be the case. If someone is truly for you, if someone really wants to get to know who you are, they will wait for you. And this goes for men as well. Men that have decided to remain virgins or to abstain, sisters, we also need to respect their decision. Give them the same respect that we expect ourselves to be given when other people are talking to us, when other people are getting to know who we are. Stay true to your convictions. Let us stay true to the things that we believe in. I've said it before in this video. We need to be strong-minded because there will be many things that will come up against us, many situations. A lot of the time it's not even just people, but it's the situations that we allow ourselves to be a part of. Have self-respect. Okay, so respect is relative to, a lot of people will say, but you gotta give us something to respect. Yeah, maybe we should be giving people things to respect. Because if we cannot respect ourselves, our bodies, have boundaries, not allow ourselves to be compromised, that shows that we have self-respect, we have self-control, and these are great virtues to have, not only just in relationships but in society. There will be many times that we'll be tempted to do things that go against our moral standards, that even go against the law. And if we cannot have self-discipline, self-control, and self-respect within ourselves, we cannot expect other people to respond to us in that way. Learning how to communicate better. Woo! Communication. Now that one, communication is a big all-round one. We need to be able to communicate our emotions. We need to be able to communicate our thoughts. Because when we lack communication, we resort to actions. And there's nothing wrong with actions because there's different forms of expressing love in action ways. Definitely respecting other people's boundaries is one, as well as acts of service is another way of showing love. So we don't always have to express love in a sexual manner. We can learn to communicate in other ways. We can learn to express ourselves in other ways. Find positive, productive activities that will increase our growth, increase the skill sets that we want to have, increase our patience and long suffering. We need to get out of this mindset that we have to be satisfied immediately, because life is really not like that. Anything that comes easy usually doesn't have a great foundation. True intimacy is the closeness that develops and happens between two people over a period of time. Yes, we can say that intimacy is something that is more emotional, but it also is dictated by the things that we do to get to know people, the time that we take to get to know people, the patience that we have, the temperance that we have to allow people to be who they want to be, and then for us to assess if what they are is compatible with who we are. Assess the circles that we keep, the friendships that we have, the people that we hang out with. this was quite a big one for me. I had to go through literally, like, I don't know if it's a cleanse or what we want to call it, but definitely had to go through a time where I had to withdraw myself from certain social situations, from certain friends. And it wasn't that entirely that people are bad in who they are, but when our values change, we no longer have the same interests. We no longer actually can be able to grow with one another, because the one person will always feel stunted. And we have to also assess whether the people that we are around are suitable for the type of lifestyle that we want to have. So yeah, this one I had to shed a lot of friendships that maybe I thought were true friendships, and it's not that maybe they weren't being true. I wasn't being true as well. I wasn't being true to who I wanted to be. I thought I needed to be a certain way to be popular. I thought I needed to be a certain way for me to fit in, you know, the cliques or the groups, or to hang out. And that is really not the case. Once we assess our friendships, then we also need to be comfortable with being alone. And comfortable with being alone does not mean that we're lonely or desperate and things like that. It just means you're physically also okay with going out on your own, doing things on your own, because at times we become dependent on the relationships we have in friendships. And that dependency attracts a lot of complacency. Let's say complacency, yes. It attracts a lot of being complacent with certain behavior, with certain situations, just because you want to go out, just because you want to hang out. There's many things to do on our own, get productive hobbies, as well as get to know other people in communities that share the same interests as you. Go out there and get into hobbies that are different to the things that you usually would do. Practice how to be a homebody, like practice how to actually stay home. There's been times where I love to go out, I love to be outdoors, I love to socialize, but there's been times that I've had to really discipline myself in not to go out, not to want to be in the social situations, so that I can be able to have self-discipline and control, because it is a daily practice. It is something that we need to practice daily, every single second, because temptation will always find a way to get into our lives if we do not avoid it, think ahead for it, as well as if we do not separate ourselves from those kind of situations. As long as we have the breath of life in our bodies, it is never too late to make a difference. It is never too late to make a change. So sisters, always believe that it is never too late to change, decide, commit, and change. All my lovely sisters out there that are virgins, that have decided to stop having sex before marriage, please do connect with me. Comment below, let us know how's it going, how are you doing, because we are not alone. This decision is the best decision that I've ever made for my life, and I believe that it's the best decision that any woman, any man can also make for their lives. To practice self-control and to maintain our virtuousness until marriage is a beautiful decision. So never feel embarrassed, never feel alone, because we are not alone. Comment below, subscribe. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. Please do let me know what you think, and let me know what I can talk about next pertaining to this topic. What are your struggles, and how else can we help each other?